Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Curiosity Cache. We're in Season 2, Episode 2, and at the end of last week, technically 2 weeks ago, but at the end of last episode, the crew of the cache, Freed, Decim, and Braca, had been down below the shop, discovering the strange tunnels and such that are under there. If I remember correctly, you all decided that you were going to try exploring those tunnels some more before going off to look for the falchion of that long lost or long dead gladiator. Does that sound right?
Yes. Because the limited, dated idea that we have of where the falchion may be, there was some lava around there, and I'm sure Reed could explain why lava may be particularly troubling for some members of the party.
But Freed, it lavas you.
Does it though?
So at the end of the last episode, you were all heading back up into the shop from the basement and the secret door you had found down there. And as you walk in, Prach is standing there talking with what appears to be a semi-translucent, slightly glowing blue humanoid that is wrapped in armor. The armor itself seems normal. It's not translucent or glowing. And Pratchett turns to you and says, "Oh, I'm glad you're here. I found a new hire. So this is Doran, and he's going to be helping you guys when you go out and go relic searching." Doran, why don't you introduce your character?
In character or out of character?
You can.
That's a real question.
I guess.
How hard do I have to think right now?
Yeah, I guess how would Doran bother? Is he outgoing? Like, would he be like, "Oh, hello," or is he holding back to see what they do first?
Time has proven that being a walking lamppost is normally not greatest to initiate conversation.
Fair enough.
At least in their adventures. But I mean, they're Hollow Legionnaire, obviously, and for people who don't know what that is, Scarred Lands. You're watching a Scarred Lands campaign.
It's
Hollow
true.
Legionnaire is like one of the best races in Scarred. They don't really have any like crazy ornate anything going on. Their armor, the filigree and designs on that will resemble that of the Iron Spire. I don't really know fully what that description is because they seem kind of mundane in compared to things like the mithril and the gold,
right?
All the fancy schmancy ones. And it's not really like the craziest armor. It's not like full plate or anything like that. It's actually just some ordinary leather armor.
Yeah.
So not the most common of the Hollow Legionnaire setups. This is definitely one of, if you knew about the Hollow Legionnaire, is one of the ones that has kind of just gone, I need to go. Call me if I need to come back and defend the spires. So very much so an adventuring sort.
Okay.
But a little reserved.
Okay. So what does the crew do?
I'd like to do an inside check on Prachia to see if this is hey, this is my friend, like, or if this is like we needed someone.
Yeah.
This is the last resort, but.
Well, she had that wanted sign outside for at least the last several days. But go ahead and make the insight check. Let me know what you get.
Click.
Click.
That's a 6.
A 6. I mean, like I said, she's had the sign out, so it's not really all that weird. She doesn't seem nervous or put off, and she doesn't seem like she's just like, "Hey, so this is the bottom of the barrel."
Good enough for me.
Yeah.
So then I will immediately just include him into the fold of the family.
Okay.
And just like, "Hey, how you doing?" And walk upstairs to put on my clothes because I assume my clothes are not on right now.
I mean, that's completely up to you.
They're probably not. Yeah.
So
yeah,
Freed,
that's something that we established early in season 1.
Right? So Freed, why don't you describe to Doran what you look like?
So one of the people coming up from the basement is this looks like a gnome, but completely made of ice. No clothing on whatsoever, although you do see kind of scales and this weird viscous ooze coming out of particularly the left arm. And he just walks up and waves the right arm at you, like, "Hey, no, nice to meet you. I'll be right back," and goes upstairs.
Okay. Braca, what are you doing?
So, on our last episode, Braca started learning some meditation to try
Absolutely.
and calm himself, and you would have seen Braca look at this suit of armor and have no idea what was going on, and start meditating for a bit to center himself, and then
When
Ask-
Braca's doing
and
this
Braca-
in the shop, is it like a standing aside and like meditating like you do in the at the temple, or is it like you go around and you dust things and hum to yourself and you're like trying to what kind of
No.
meditator are you in the shop?
in the shop, I think Braca would have tried to learn some. I need something simple on the move. If maybe I'm in a confined space, if maybe I need to have at least a little subtlety because in close personal quarters with naked ice gnomes.
Yep.
So
Fair
it's
enough.
just
Okay.
and it's as much breathing as anything else. And then I'll ask I'm sorry, I know this may be a potentially awkward question, but are you alive in that armor? I've never met one of your kind before.
Doran alive? Once death was.
So you were transcendent. I might learn much from you.
Yellow.
Yellow. So Decim, Freed has disappeared. He ran upstairs. Braca, you obviously like Braca took a moment, zenned out, came back to the moment, and started talking to Doran. What are you doing?
Well, I mean, everyone's gone upstairs, so I'm going to pop my head out from the basement and notice that there is a new person. Hop up to the floor, dust myself off, slick my my fur back, and greet the new customer with a general welcome, an offer for tea. The weather is fantastic outside. He's practicing his new Lydian.
Yeah.
Some of the new phrases he's learned. You sure are a handsome fellow. A good person like you probably would do very well with Dr. Zagini's miracle polishing cream.
And Decim gestures, I feel like, to the shelf, but everything is
Yes.
gone.
So I'll just like look at the shelf,
Yeah.
look it back at you.
You can actually see there's some like it almost looks like burn scorch marks and some like pocking of the wood, like something both burned and ate through the wood on the shelves for some reason. But other than that, there's no bottles or anything on it.
Want Doran cream not.
Oh, a discerning customer. Well, then a gentleman like yourself might be interested in this item over here. Walk over to one of the tables and gesture to a knick-knack curio.
So as you go to gesture, you find that Pracha is standing before you. She's moved in front of you, and she looks down and kind of smiles her like most patient smile. And she's like, "No, Decim, Doran is a new employee here. Do you understand? He's going to be working here. He's not a customer. You don't need to sell him anything."
Desmond, of course, looks very embarrassed and wrings his hands a little bit, and then falls in line behind Braca.
Okay. And Decim, go ahead and... Actually, we didn't say what Braca looked like either. So, Decim, what do you look like for Doran?
He's a rat. He's an albino rat, but scrawny, little, a bit malnourished, wearing a set of clothes that have been impossibly patchworked, very threadbare and worn.
Okay, and Braca, what do you look like?
Raka is an ironbred, so he's got largely the humanoid body, kind of rust reddish brown, skin, looking very much, more like a horse's skin tone. Very horse head and hooves, but otherwise, nice blue tunic. Lighter blue tattoos on his arm. There's a reason that he's Braca blue, and stands about 6'1", if I remember, 6'1", 6'2", somewhere around there.
Gotcha.
And he does say, "Oh, sorry. I also should have introduced myself. I'm Braca blue."
And Pracha, your new employer, Doran. Pracha is a orc woman. I think she's just over 6 foot, if I remember correctly. Of everyone, she's the only one that has a weapon on her, like a sword. Everyone else is, they have daggers or sticks. But you know that in Shelzar that you can't just carry around an open weapon. It has to be peace-bound. So if your character has a weapon on them, it is currently peace-bound. Or you can have it like stored back where you're living, or you tell me. Doran, can you hear me? Tric.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
I'm just trying to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really know.
Okay.
I wouldn't know what would exactly be. I don't know. I don't know how to word it.
Yeah.
What I would be concerned about or not with a weapon. All I know is that I'm employed, and that I don't. I apparently just walked in here, and now I'm being offered cream that burns shit.
Yeah.
So I'm not feeling like super great. I've been in situations before where like, oh, look at the Hall Legionnaire, time for experiments.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of feeling like I might have to leave. But yeah, weapons and things like that, not like it's as wise as the Hall Legionnaires typically are from being well traveled. Not.
Okay.
I'm just trying to survive. For the longest time, I thought I still had to eat.
And trying is just so awkward. Let's go with, so you on your sheet you have a hand axe and a dagger, so you can carry the dagger freely. That's fine. The hand axe, we'll just say it's at the. How long do you think you've been here in Shelzar? Are you a new arrival?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. I would say that the hand axe Doran doesn't think is like an actual weapon.
Yeah.
And they use it for wood and,
Yeah.
just setting up camps
So if that's
and
the
traveling.
case, when you came to town, were you carrying it on your person, like, or was it in a bag?
It was definitely in my bag.
Okay.
Like, if anything, it was tied to my backpack. Like,
Gotcha.
it was definitely not on my waist or
Yeah.
anything like that.
So, I mean, you're definitely informed when you came to town that you can't carry weapons in the city except for daggers, and so they don't mind you carrying your dagger, and they kind of eye the axe like, but really, I mean, hand axes are just kind of like small hatchets that you might chop wood with, so they're not too worried about it, but they just tell you, don't carry it. So they don't piece bind it or anything. They don't wrap it up and make it so you can't use it. But we'll go with you not really carrying it. Either it's in your bag or it's back at the location that you're staying at for the time being.
Right.
And you have learned that being hired on here, you get a room upstairs, so it's actually, you don't have to pay for lodging any longer.
That does not process for Doran at all.
Totally fair. All right, so Freed, you're upstairs. You managed to put on, are you robing it up, or are you actually doing full on pants today?
I mean, are we going to the place?
So you haven't talked to Pracha about your plan yet. So I guess
I think Brackets can start doing that. Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, Freed
because
gets pants.
But Freed,
Yeah,
Freed
pants.
won't make an informed decision until he comes back down and learns the decision.
Freed makes decisions in his head and then gets caught up with other
Right,
decisions.
right.
That's happened multiple times. Yeah, he's gonna
Absolutely.
assume we're going, and he's gonna put on pants and the cloak,
Okay.
and get his little dagger out.
So
then come
Doran's
back
kind of
on.
like hanging out and eyeing everyone a little uncomfortably. Keeps glancing at the burned, scorched shelf that Decim was trying to like get him to buy shit off of. Decim is looking a little chagrined, I take it.
Yes, he's definitely shrunk a little bit.
Okay. And Braca begins explaining to Pracha what you all found. What do you say, Braca?
Yep. So, I start saying that we seem to have found some more tunnels underneath here. And there was that set of glowing rats that combined and destroyed the floor and everything. So we may need to take care of that. And I think that Freed may need a little time, adjusting to being back with us and maybe in combat if that happens before we go after the Falchion.
Okay. So she looks thoughtful about what you're saying. A little, you can tell you've been around Pracha long enough. Like she seems a little flustered that there's even more unknown shit under the store, and how in the hell are you all going to take care of this? So she agrees. Yeah, if you all want to go check that out, we still have enough funds to stay open and deal with everything for a little longer. I think that's not a bad idea to make sure there's nothing living in our basement. Decim, do you do anything?
No, he is meekly standing in line.
Okay. All right, Freed,
Don't
so you
worry.
come. Go ahead.
That's them. You may have more offspring soon. Like,
So true. I mean, what? All right, Freed, so you come strolling downstairs. Again, it's for you. It's been super warm, even with your ring. It's just so uncomfortable, and now wearing pants, so constricting, so uncomfortable.
I don't understand.
Who would
put
wear
them
pants?
on their body? It
Right.
makes no sense.
Gah, pants are dumb. I am not projecting whatsoever. And you go in to the main room as you hear this conversation going on. That the plan is to go back into the tunnel network and try and figure out what's down there.
I don't know if I asked last time, but is it cooler down in like underground without the sun?
Yeah.
Is it cooler? Yeah, I'm all for that.
Okay. It's definitely cooler than the lava that you keep hearing about.
Which I'm still trying to figure out. Can we like fake a falchion? Because there's nothing good that ever comes from being around lava. I don't
Yeah.
care who you are.
I mean, salamanders might disagree, but otherwise.
But they're not people though. They're salamanders and made of evil.
So that's going to
It's
be our
all right.
next group T-shirt.
drink
The salamanders aren't people.
drink plenty of water.
With that, he's gonna go and like run to the faucet and just like start chugging water.
Okay, yeah. There's the well out back, so you go out and start
Yeah.
like pulling up buckets of water.
Just getting ready. Okay.
Do any of you need to do anything before you go back down into the tunnels?
I've got a question for you, as
Sure.
GM. Since Braca's main weapon is a quarterstaff with the mop head, largely removed. that
Right.
Basically, it's a mop with the mop head removed. That he swings around like a quarterstaff.
Yeah.
How much would he be able to just carry that around Shelzar? Try to put the mop head back on and say,
Right. You could absolutely like carry around the mop if you wanted, but also like walking sticks and quarterstaffs are not really considered weapons in the same way that a scimitar would be. So if
Oh,
if somebody catches you with a stick, they're not going to say anything.
I think at least for a while, Braca would still be putting the mop head on.
Yeah. Cat.
For humility.
For humility. That's totally fair.
I'd like to think that's one of the things that the temple recommended to him.
Nice. All right, so Pracha turns to Doran, and she says, "So I'm going to send you with them, since your role here won't really be so much taking care of the store, since that's what I'm doing. You're going to be going with them to make sure they are okay. Yeah, that's pretty much your job. Make sure they're okay."
Safe.
Exactly. And so she gestures at there's like a door that goes back into another room in the shop. You'll find the basement that way.
I just follow the group that I'm
Okay.
supposed to keep safe. Primary objective.
Yeah, your quest log has popped up with your new.
Yeah.
And there is a grayed out exclamation point above Pracha's head, so you know where to return afterwards. All right, so Braca, Freed, and Decim, what are you doing?
Do we have enough torches or other things to see in the pitch black? Because I think Braca do you have dark vision?
I have limited dark vision.
Right.
Okay.
I am a Hall Legionnaire and glow in the dark.
Ooh.
I think it's only 5 feet though.
Yeah, it's like 5 feet of dim light. So if there's something around Doran, you can see that thing enough to attack it. But if it's anything beyond that 5 feet, it's just black again.
Yeah.
Does that also mean that they'll see you underground walking around like a torch? I mean, obviously, if we need torch, we need torch.
They will see me.
Absolutely.
Yes, that because I'm not even gonna bother rolling for Braca. Braca doesn't understand who he's interacting with right now.
Like what a Holland Legionnaire is.
Nope.
Absolutely, yeah. They're for anyone watching and for Noah's purposes, not Braca's purposes. Hollow Legionnaires were actually like created like less than 150 years ago by a group of animated armor that one of the gods created to fight in the war that ended about 150 years ago. So this group of armor to progenerate like their race, they essentially suck souls back from the afterlife and implant them into armor. So Noah, you can know that, but Braca probably hasn't heard of them. I mean, they're not super populous right now, and especially in this area, if there's a Hollow Legionnaire running around, you probably haven't seen it. All right, so everyone heads downstairs.
But if possible, Braca would like to try and be near the back in the beginning.
Sure.
As much as anything else, just to try to understand a little of the physicality of how Doran moves.
Okay, fair enough. And sorry,
yeah.
Free to answer your... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So Braca's wondering. Okay, are they moving like humanoid bipedally? Is there more of a floating ability to go up and down thing going on with the stairs? How is that going to work?
Yeah, and you notice that they do seem to step like a human, even though like they seem semi-transparent. As they step down, there's obviously like a jostle to their movement. They're not like just gliding down the stairs or anything like that.
In Braca's mind, just watching seems more humane and friendly than asking because just asking would be incredibly awkward.
Fair enough. So, Doran, remind me, do you have dark vision? I don't.
Do I?
I can't remember.
I don't think that I do, actually. Hold on. Let me check.
So I know Freed does not, correct? Okay,
Freed is
so you will
blind,
definitely have to have some light source. So you, there are lanterns in the shop. There are torches. So you decide what you want to carry along with you.
Yeah, I don't think that I do.
Also, how long of an expedition could this be? Would we need to bring things like food and water?
Do you feel like you might have that possibility?
Is it the possibility to get some rations or the...
So with the experience that he's had under there so far as the winding tunnels and them kind of going down into the earth as well as out under the city, do you, as Braca, feel like you might get lost, or you're going to continue going until you find an end, and that could be, a week from now? What do you think?
Braca's gonna look at the rest of his companions. Yeah, we should definitely bring some food and water just in case something goes wrong.
You never
Racha,
know.
you think that's a good idea?
She stops and looks at everybody and just nods. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So I do not see dark vision on Hollow Legionnaires.
Yeah, I didn't see it either, so I would assume I do not.
Just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Okay, so the two of you require light if you want to see, more than Doran's 5 feet. And Braca and Decim both have dark vision.
I'm going to get some, both lanterns and torches. I'm going to give the torches to our new friend.
Okay.
Because torches have fire.
It's true.
Once again.
And you're a nice person.
Yeah.
Completely fair. So as you're heading down the stairs, Doran, the small ice person, Freed, hands you a couple of torches, and you notice that you're heading down the set of stairs into what almost appears to be like natural, almost waterways that were cut through the desert floor, but they're pretty deep. So not like Grand Canyon deep, but like taller than you, probably 15 feet tall. And as they kind of wind through this weird tunnel, it opens up into a larger room that has obviously been worked to be a storage room, so it's much more square shaped as opposed to normal, like the flow of water. And on the far side, you can see there are like lanterns burning down here, so everyone can see in the light. You see what's like this area has been cleared out of all of this storage crap, random pieces of furniture and boxes and crates and all of that, and you see what appears to be a very cleverly hidden door in the wall that is just slightly open, and it's the only reason you can really see it, and that's where everyone seems to be heading.
So seeing all these surroundings and knowing that my objective is to apparently protect, I will still ask, live Doran here? Like, this is like, and I seem kind of excited about it. Like, this is a nice spot. This is pretty nice compared to what I normally have.
What does anyone say?
Oh, wait. Go ahead.
Free's gonna keep walking and be like, we live upstairs. Down here is there's some secret laboratory. Be careful in there.
Desmond nods.
Bad lab?
Explosion lab.
Bad lab.
Nice. All right, so everyone head on through the door.
Yes.
All right, so going through the secret door, the first thing you notice is a continuation of the natural form tunnels, and not far in on the left-hand side is a very large, ornate door of metal that seems to have a strange contraption built over it. It's probably a lock of some kind. It looks kind of mismatched together from random parts, but you get the idea that it's a lock. But beyond that, the tunnel continues on, and everyone seems to just kind of ignore that door as they walk by it. What do you do, Doran?
If they're all ignoring it,
Yeah.
I'm ignoring it.
Unless, Braca, you feel like you need to stop and check your handiwork or anything.
Nope.
Okay. Okay.
But remember, at least until we pass it, Braca is in the back, so
Yeah.
no one else would know.
Yeah. So as you continue on, there are several small tunnels that kind of veer off, and everyone ignores those because Decimfried and Braca, you've already explored these, and it seems like they're heading towards an area with intent, Doran. Like they know where they're going, and as you get further down the tunnel, you see some tools laying on the ground, and then you come to an area that looks like the wall has been hewn, and then another door has been installed recently. Decim, this is your lab. Do you do anything as we head by?
I scurry inside real quick.
Okay.
Pick up my satchel.
Now remind me, is there a did Braca install a lock on this one as well?
I don't think so. I think it's just it's more for the safety of the people on the outside of the door than it is on the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
So you
And he's
scurry.
not worried about the gentle masters stealing anything from him. You know, that's fine.
Yeah.
They want.
Although, I mean, you do know, because Prach has talked much about this, that the main reason you want to explore down here is to make sure that there aren't, and also the reason that Braca rebuilt the lock on the other door was because you don't know where these tunnels go, so there might be people coming towards the shop from underneath. So just keep that in mind.
Okay. Well, did we have time to get a lock on it?
Yeah, because you guys had like a couple of weeks since the end of season 1.
Okay. Yeah. Sure. There's a lock.
Okay.
Just for extra security. Yeah. I'll pop in there real quick. Grab the satchel. Quickly paw in a bunch of things into the satchel, and scurry back out.
Okay.
Close it.
So as Destin comes scurrying out, and there's like the clinking of jars in his satchel, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Okay. Freed and Braca, you know that if you continue on, there are a few tunnels off to your right that have not been explored yet. But I need Freed, I'm assuming, is up front.
Yep.
Go ahead and make me a perception check.
Yeah, and Braca would be willing to move closer to the front now.
Okay. Now that he's I spied what he needed to spy.
Yep. And also, I'm not sure
Nice.
if after this how much Freed wants to be in the front. The good news is whoever second could see over him.
Completely fair. So, Freed, you don't hear anything different than what you noticed earlier, and you feel pretty confident that going on in the direction that you still need to explore is perfectly safe.
Gotcha.
Doran, what's your... Never mind, I have your character sheet open. I can look.
If you were gonna ask what my passive perception is, it's 10.
10. It's amazing. Okay.
I'm here to party.
Right? So, Doran, are you following Freed?
Yep.
Okay. So, Decim comes scurrying out and kind of rejoins the group. Freed's leading the way, and Braca has moved up with Doran and kind of walking along. Decim's kind of clinking a little bit until he gets shifted around and everything. All of his bottles seem to settle. You get down to an intersection, and some of the tunnels you've moved through are obviously worked as opposed to the natural, but it also appears that perhaps there were cave-ins in certain areas that have been like kind of moved around, and perhaps other entrances once existed but have been closed off because of that. But you get down to a certain area that has like wrapped down under the ground a bit, and even with everyone's amazing passive perceptions, you begin to hear voices, and they seem very distant. And it's kind of hard to tell as you're moving through, and there's like little offshoots of these dark tunnels. It's hard to tell which way they're coming from.
I offer to scout ahead.
Okay.
Since I think I've got decent enough vision in the tunnels.
Yeah, you've got the best dark vision.
So I can go forward and alert you guys to whatever is down there.
Okay.
Would Braga or I know of Decim's new way to defend himself?
Decim, have you informed them of what you've been doing the last few weeks or couple weeks?
Freak's been around.
Okay.
There's been a lot of explosions.
Yeah.
Okay.
It actually might be those explosions that instigated the installation of that second door.
Yeah. Before he goes, I'm going to say just try not to explode anything in these caves that are already caving in.
I hear explode and I just go, bad lab?
Yeah.
Risk lab. Not bad, but high risk.
Bad lab.
Yeah. He'll nod.
All right, Decim.
And then
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, as they start to leave, I'm definitely gonna be conflicted.
Yeah.
I don't know which part to stay with.
Sure.
So I'm gonna like stand as he moves further away. I'm gonna be at like the halfway point
Yeah.
the whole way until
So-
somebody says something, or I'm just going to be literally following him.
So where he's like double moving essentially, you're just like single moving to
Yes.
keep that. Okay, cool. So yeah,
Pretty
Fried and Braca,
much.
you see Doran kind of like. You don't even need to make an insight on this. He's very like unsure of where he's supposed to go, and he just kind of slowly fades out down, like his light disappears around a corner of a tunnel. What are you two doing while Decim's heading out?
We should probably follow them.
I'd like to, because I assume that Decim is going to be doing a little bit of the clank, clank, clank down the tunnel. So once Decim goes a little bit, I'd almost like to stay a little further behind
Sure.
at least for a bit, to do a little listening and try and see if I could determine which one of the tunnels the voices are coming from
Yeah,
before
absolutely.
trying their dash to catch up with everybody.
So go ahead and do a perception check for me. And while you're doing that, Decim,
Excellent
your
question.
sneak is 12. Excellent.
Yeah. I was gonna say, do I notice if they're sneaking or not? Because I would try to do the same.
As Decim moves out of your vision, disappears into the dark, you can hear every so often like the clinking of the bottles in his satchel. Decim himself isn't making all that much noise. He's able to move pretty silently, but it's really like keeping the stuff he's carrying is quiet. It's a little more difficult. And Braca, you're kind of standing at the intersection and you're listening, and it's really, really hard to tell. It seems to echo off. If you had to guess, they went down the right tunnel, and you keep hearing something down the left tunnel. You're not 100% sure which is the right one.
I try to head up to the rest of the party.
Okay. So are you doing so silently, or are you like galloping?
Oh,
See, I can use words
see-
like that with you because you're a horse,
see, you'd think that the horse would just gallop, but
right?
nay.
Or at
The horse
least
is gonna try to be quiet.
or at least trot. Come on. Go ahead and do a stealth check for me. Nice. Okay.
Hey,
So, Freed,
I
you
doubled my
hear
last roll.
Freed, you hear Braca coming up behind you, and the two of you are kind of keeping Doran just at the edge of your sight as you're following along. Decim, so you get further down. Go ahead and make me a perception check.
Perceiving. Super strong suit.
Best roll of the game today. So with your 18, you're sitting there and you're listening. You know, you're kind of moving along, and every so often a bottle like clings together in your bag, and so you're like, you stop and you're like waiting for it to stop making noise. And up ahead, you hear the sound. It sounds like voices, but it sounds like a multitude of strange whispers mixed with like not shouts but like kind of upraised or like louder voices, and they're not really talking in the languages you can understand, and they're just like tumbling over each other with their words. What do you do?
Is it like what's the general energy of the words?
Do an insight check.
Insight.
So there's a lot of energy to it, like very quickly formed words and speech that's just like colliding with each other. Like it's almost like an argument going on.
Can I determine how far away they are?
It's really hard to tell. No. Really, the problem you're having is some of the voices are louder and some of them are more whispers, and so trying to like gauge, it just seems very strange. It doesn't seem natural.
Well, then I'm gonna hold here and wait for the crew to catch up so I can deliver them.
So it doesn't take very long. Doran, you catch up with Decim, and he seems to just like be crouching and listening. He glances back at you because you're glowing. And then fairly quickly after that, Freed and Braca catch up as well. What do you all do?
If he's crouching and sneaking,
Yeah.
I will do the same.
Okay.
I'll just mimic the leader.
Sure.
Basically. So I don't know if you need me to make a roll or anything like that, but I can if you want.
Yeah, not right now. You're fine. Braca and Freed, as you move down, though, you do notice that like the glow that was Doran is much more subdued, and you're not really sure why until you get up and you just realize like he's kind of hunched over and isn't out, like his light isn't concealed, but it's much smaller and doesn't radiate as much. What do you two do when you catch up?
So if there are people here, that's bad, right? We don't want people here.
I mean, it's definitely going to be awkward that somebody could go strolling up into your shop in the middle of the night. And then there's Decim's lab, and there's Belky's sanctum.
We have a few choices here.
Yeah, so we don't recognize what they're saying.
Go ahead and make a perception check. It's really just like such a cacophony of sound. Like it's hard to make out. And as you're all sitting there, you do like realize that you, in addition to like the random words that come out, you hear like screams. Every so often you hear like a moan, like somebody maybe in pain. It's very confusing. It's a very confusing collection of sounds.
So not happy, joyous.
Not necessarily, no.
So leaning a little more up on the scale of we might want to check that out.
Sure.
As opposed to they're just doing their own thing. Let them be.
Right. All right.
That's what Rocket is going to start whispering to the party that we there could be someone in trouble. We may want to help them or get something out of helping them.
Ever the salesman.
You see, and Braca assumes that different people may need different pitches at this point.
Yeah.
He's not 100% sure.
Yeah. What does everybody think?
If that seems to be the plan, and everybody's sneaking, Doran has been in situations where sneaking and being illuminated is bad.
Yeah.
So he's going to prepare to cast Disguise Self on himself.
Okay.
And,
Although, in order to see, two of you need a light source. So covering yourself up isn't going to do much right now, but...
that doesn't... Yeah, I was going to say that does
if
not
you-
mean anything
yeah,
to Doran.
It looks like Freed has an idea.
I don't need to see anything. I just need a hand that can grab onto Braca.
Yeah.
And then if we start like dying, then we should like light the torch pretty quickly. But other than that, I'll just trust in Braca or Decim.
Okay. So Freed, do you put out your lantern then?
Yeah.
Okay.
After hearing Braca, I'll just snuff it out.
Okay. Doran.
I guess am casting Disguise Self on myself to look as much like Decim as possible.
Okay.
Because they're the leader and the one I was following. So.
Right. So Decim, all of a sudden, Doran looks uncomfortably like you, like down to like some of the like weird hairs that have been singed and never really quite grew back, and like the little twitch that you get every so often like under your eye. It's a little creepy.
Desmond has a weird Vietnam moment. Like, the planes, the sounds of the planes are going overhead,
Right.
know.
That eye twitches
the
more.
Smell of the swamp. But this makes sense. It makes sense. It makes sense. I mean, first there was Skrigic, and now there's this.
Right. And right before you snap out of the like that flashback moment, you hear a woman's like screechy voice say, "Drink this," and it like brings you out of it, and you just kind of like stare at your reflection that is Doran.
Doran will notice, I assume, that he's staring at me.
Yeah, there's definitely like a good 10-second just like awkward stare.
Yeah.
And then he
I'll just
blinks.
Yeah, I'll just say, Doran is you too.
Desmond nods, albeit like in an attempted way of looking sagely. He's now trying to figure out how he's creating these progeny. Just out of thin air. How is it happening? It's the second time this has happened. And then we'll go down for the crouch. I'll choose that over.
Okay. Doran, are you going to extinguish your torch and be led as well? Or are you going to try and...
That's what everyone else is doing. You better believe that's exactly what I'm doing.
So are you being led by Decim?
Yeah, that's the person I'm like latched to for sure, because that was the person I was like following.
What do you think?
They seem to have the initiative.
He has like, like pants and a shirt on. He has like a small like tattered cape. He has a tail. What do you think you're going to hang on to? Like, did you grab his tail?
The tail. Yep.
So Decim grabs your tail and extinguishes his torch.
All right. Yeah. No. That's. I mean, in tunnels, that's how you learn the tunnels.
It's absolutely true.
Yeah. Of the one who goes before you.
Okay.
Who's usually the one who dies first.
So Decim, are you offering to be that sacrifice today? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, it is the way.
Okay. This is the way.
This is the way.
So Decim strikes a heroic pose. Freed and Braca, you get this like weird. Actually, Freed never saw it. Braca,
Yeah.
you get this like flashback of Decim on the ship shouting like paladinish things as the ship was going down, and then everyone starts heading down the tunnel. Decim.
And
Oh, go ahead, Braca.
Braca would just think it's funnier to not share the paladinish things with the other members of the party. It's something that has to be truly experienced. Braca
Absolutely,
cannot
absolutely.
describe this in words.
It's like a fine wine. You can't explain what it tastes like. They just have to drink it themselves. Okay. So Decim, being in front, can you make me another perception check, please?
Super perceptive.
So perceptive.
The most perceptive.
Yay! All right. So you start heading down this tunnel, and every so often you see niches that go off, but it doesn't form any other full-on tunnels. And as you get closer to this sound, it begins to just sound horrid, like I need everyone to make a saving throw.
What kind of saving throw?
Kind of horrid.
Wow.
It's gonna be a wisdom saving throw.
Ooh. Super good at this too.
Excellent.
13.
I actually hit a 13 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
another roll of 5 or lower.
Yeah. So Decim and Braca, this noise, as it gets louder, just begins to really unnerve you. And right as you notice this, Decim, you kind of like freeze up for a minute, but you see what looks like a grate in front of you. It's hard to tell. It's about 20 feet away, and it's kind of hard to make out any details on it, but you can see the gray bars that are like covering what appears to be the tunnel going on, or maybe it's opening up to a larger room. It's hard to tell. And just on the other side of that, this noise is coming through. And Braca and Decim, both of you, you're just a little unsettled by it in the way that you can't take reactions during this turn.
Ooh.
And at the start of each of your turns, you're going to roll a d6,
Ooh.
which will lead us to roll initiative.
Nailed it. 3.
Oh,
Oh wait, I have advantage on initiative, I think.
nice.
I might have to roll again. Hold on, let me check.
Say Braca, Decim. Pracha is not here.
That's where my dice are.
I forgot about that all the time with Bifurns way back in the day. He had advantage on like a bunch of stuff, and I was only doing one roll each time.
Nice. So Braca, about 30 feet from you, you can hear this thing babbling, like all of these voices babbling through, and like there's some screams, there's moaning. What do you do?
Scream, there's babbling, there's moaning, there's this grate. I'm going to try and kind of nudge Freed a little bit and say, there was a noise. I think they're onto us, and then roll a d6.
Absolutely.
Because that's something I have to do.
It is. 2. So for this turn, you're going to do nothing else except for what you just did. So you can't take any actions or move.
Wow.
Can I start nervously shaking whatever part of my body
Yeah.
Freed is holding on to.
Yeah, so like Freed's holding your hand, and Freed, you can feel this like vibration coming from Baraka. You can't see him, but he's obviously very upset.
Okay.
So Decim, being in front,
Oh,
you can
another question.
see. Oh yeah, go for it.
Is this a can I repeat the save at the end of my turn thing, or
It is
like
not.
this? Oh,
Good God.
So Decim, being in front, you can see like these bars, and what appears to be just a rolling mass of flesh kind of like flops up against the grate, and you can see some mouths moving in unison to some of the voices. You can see like weird strange orifices that don't really make sense making weird shrieking noises, and it's just kind of like slapping against the grate. And then Freed, what do you do?
In my like adventurous pack or something, would I have the ability to light the torch again?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's an action, right?
It is an action, yep.
As much as I hate fire, I will light the fire
Okay.
and then drop it on the ground so that there is some sort of like.
So do you want to
light
light your lantern or your torch?
Let's do lantern.
Okay. So yeah, that hooded lantern like does a circle of light that goes out.
Yeah.
As you light it up, everyone can see like this weird ball orb of flesh. It's multicolored, but all of the pigments like immediately remind you of like human skin. There are like mouths that are like moaning and screaming. There's other ones that are talking. Freed, you still have the ability to do a bonus action or move. Do you want to do anything else?
None of my things are bonus actions. No, I will stand there with my compatriots trying to figure out what the shit we did.
Okay. So Decim, what do you do? Or what do you think at first? Because you need to roll a d6. But what's your initial reaction?
So he's gone full possum, you know, kind of that like tense open jaw kind of thing. He's baring all of his teeth. He's gonna snap out of it though after I roll a d6.
I mean,
Maybe.
that can be your absolutely like your reaction, but let's see what you do further. So you also have that same like inability to really do anything. You can't move, take reactions or actions, but you kind of hunker down and snarl at it.
Yeah, like full on possum, like, you know, just big, tense, open mouth, baring all teeth.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So Doran, you see Decim just kind of like go like this, mouth open. He's like making noises at it. What do you do?
Same thing.
Fair enough.
What he does.
Okay. Baraka, go ahead and make me another save. Nice. So you managed to like shake this weird sensation off, and you're looking at this thing that's been illuminated. Like bits of its flesh are kind of pressing through the bars, but you're not sure it can make it. Like it can actually squeeze through the bars. What do you do?
Does it look like it would want to eat us if it squeezes all the way through the bars?
That's a really good question. Do an insight check. This is going to be a disadvantage one, but It doesn't matter because you just keep rolling the same two numbers. Oh, you didn't this time.
No, not
Okay.
always.
So with your 14, it definitely seems like it's trying to get to you. Whether or not it wants to eat you, you're not sure.
Do I see another way we can go?
Not in the direction that you're going. In fact, with your knowledge of like tinkering and all of that, you look at the grate, and it actually is embedded in the stone. Like you don't see any kind of like screws holding it up or anything like that. It's a metal grate that disappears on all sides into the stone, and it's almost like a plate that lines have been, like carved out of to make the bars. You don't feel like, unless there is some kind of secret way around it, you do not feel like you can actually get through this grate.
I start explaining to everyone else, I think we took a wrong turn. There's no way we can get past this grate unless there's some kind of a secret door, but there's a fleshy mound screaming at us that wants to eat us. So maybe we shouldn't go there anyway.
Excellent. The strange mound, like some kind of weird, almost like proboscis or something, manages to like squeeze through one of the bars, but nothing else can follow. Obviously, like its mass is too large. Freed, what do you do? Oh, sorry, make me a wisdom save.
You're not super wise, Free, but I believe in you. I do believe in you.
Awesome. You feel fine. I mean, unnerved, but not incapable of taking actions.
Is there anything else here besides this weird, like, human sphere that's trapped in a bar, and behind bar or something?
It's hard to make out what's beyond it, especially from where you are. Do you want to head up? You're about 25 feet away. Do you want to head up and, like, kind of shine your light through and see what's beyond, or...
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Fair enough.
That's a great idea.
I like it. Go ahead and make another perception check. But, and this part I'll give you for free. As you get closer, the stench just gets worse and worse. Definitely like offal, feces, strange, rotten smells. You can see just beyond the strange creature. It's kind of, there's like some floating muck that is like a little bit below the little ledge it's sitting on. You're pretty sure there's a sewer beyond this.
Yeah, we shouldn't be here. Like, there's nothing for us here.
You never know what treasure could be at the bottom of that sludge pond.
I mean, true, but I doubt it's worth the actual effort. I'd rather go to the lava at this point.
Now we know what Freed likes less than lava.
Yeah, so I guess I'll just be like, I'll let them know what I see. This is weird, but I don't really feel afraid anymore. It's just like creepy.
Yeah. Okay. Decim. Make me a wisdom save. You're just really not sure about this thing. Roll a d6. Oh, wow. Okay. So, Decim, that Vietnam moment you had a little bit ago, these voices just really start grating at your nerves in a way that, like, you start, like, flashing back to the marsh, and you're being chased by, things that obviously are going to eat you or torture you or something. And your little furry hand reaches down and pulls out your dagger, and you just stab at the closest thing to you. Roll an attack.
Oh. Rah.
So Doran manages to see it coming and just like steps out of the way. Doran, the rat person just tried to like stab at you, like where you were hanging onto its tail. What do you do?
Things I want to do, but so far I've been copying them almost entirely. So is anybody holding my fake tail?
No.
Okay. I guess I just kind of recoil and don't fully understand what's happening.
Yeah.
But I see that giant creature.
Yeah.
But I see that two of us were afraid. One seems just kind of like weirded out now, but somebody else is still clearly afraid.
Yeah, Decim is
So I'm
like
not-
definitely responding to it, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna smack him.
Okay.
Is it my turn right
It
now?
is your
or-
turn now.
Okay. Then I will say to Decim, "Will do worry, you will don't," and give them bardic inspiration.
Nice. Nice.
Whoa.
Which, for people who don't speak Doran, that's "Don't worry, you will do well."
So Braca, it seems like Freed is convinced this is not the way to go. You're like shaking off the jitters that this thing has caused you. What do you want to do?
There is an area behind us, a question mark behind us.
Mhm.
Is it so something may have caught up to us? So, and I think since Rocket and Freed were near the back, Rocket's going to tell Freed, "All right, I'm going to start backing up now, so we can back away, and I can see a little bit in the dark to see if anything's coming up from behind us."
Sounds good. I will.
And then Rocket's going to start by turning around and taking his move to go back the way that we came.
Okay. So let's just do this. Decim, make one more save for me.
Saves.
Do they get to 1d6?
Yeah, if you
Whoa.
so it's a wisdom save, and you can do a 1d6 after the fact if you want.
I think a D6 is going to to where it needs to be.
Nope.
I'm gonna hold on to that D6.
Save it.
Okay.
Save it.
Yeah.
So go ahead and roll a d8.
D8.
A D8 this time.
All right, so you're back to being kind of stuck in your flashback land. You're not really seeing what's going on, and you can't really take any actions. Everyone else, you can tell that Decim's having a hard time moving on. Does anyone want to do something to help him, or are you just gonna like back away until he calms down?
I'll grab him and just start pulling him.
Okay. So you're able to pull him away from it, and as it gets quieter, Decim, you snap out of it. Like this strange hold that the voices had over you fades away, and you're once again very aware of where you are, but not necessarily what happened. You don't even recall trying to stab Doran.
Do I recall the creature?
You definitely remember like something weird down that tunnel, but it's almost like it's gone from your mind what it was.
Hmm. This does happen. I'm gonna pull out a tube of like unmarked paste and thoughtfully eat on some of this hair cream.
I was gonna say, Braca, you realize he's eating some of your toothpaste, but hair cream is also fine.
And try and get his bearings. Like we're down the tunnel. Where did we even go down the tunnel? He'll look very confused.
Yeah. So the rest of you realize that Decim has come out of this like weird haze, but is very confused and like kind of looks like he wants to go back down the tunnel because he, for whatever reason.
Do the rest of us remember some of what was down this tunnel?
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to pull out some chalk and try and who knows how long this will stay up in the tunnel, but mark a bit of the wall of this tunnel with some musical notes and try and put a frowny face in one of the musical notes.
Okay.
Just as a sign of we don't want to go down here again.
Sounds good. Dorn and Freed, what are you doing?
There was a fork in the tunnel,
Yeah.
like a ways back, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll start making my way to that fork.
Okay. Everyone following?
Yes.
Yep.
Or are we going to split the party? Okay, so everyone heads down. Freed, are you in the lead with your lantern?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do then.
Go ahead
Follow
and-
whoever takes the initiative.
Okay. So Freed, make me a perception check. Nice.
Okay.
So as you get further down, you also begin to hear voices again, except for this time they're obviously like there's somebody speaking Shilzari. I can't remember. Do you speak Shilzari?
Is that our like common language? Or
That's
no?
the regional common, but like Ladian is the trade language. So I don't remember.
Yeah, then I don't think I do shows are.
Okay, so you definitely like recognize the language from people speaking it in the city, but you don't like understand what they're saying. And
Right.
this is much more like conversational. Like you hear bits of people talking instead of this weird blending of multiple voices and screams and all of that. It also seems to be down that tunnel over there, whereas this tunnel over here, you don't really hear anything.
Okay. I'm gonna turn around and communicate what I know. Like, do we want to go to the people, or do we want to go to the possibly nobody, possibly death?
Do you know what the people are saying?
I can't understand them, but they don't sound as horrific as what we just encountered.
Oh,
As horrific.
That's horrific. Nothing is not horrific. It could be just the worst.
Yeah. Flesh bad
Uh,
monster scary is better people.
we may need to make some sort of discussion or accord with the people before the people find the cash.
True. This is true. All right, let's go to the voices.
Okay. So as you head down towards the voices, they become louder, and you definitely feel like, yeah, go for it.
And Braca does speak Shilzari.
Awesome. So as you get further down and they become more clear, Braca, you can tell, I mean, it's people talking about the weather and like what things are like in season as far as vegetables right now. It just sounds like people talking on the street. And you definitely notice like the grade of the tunnel that you're in seems to be heading up. And then Freed, as you round a corner, a bit of glow of daylight is coming through the tunnel, and you turn and there's another grate set into the wall and the floor and the ceiling. And beyond the grate, you can see what looks like the tunnel goes on for maybe 15-20 feet, and then is covered with plants. Like you can, the light is filtering through these plants, almost like there's some kind of like tunnel that's hidden. It's hard to tell what's on the other side,
Right.
but you can hear people talking, and they're just kind of everyday voices. No one's shouting or screaming or anything like that.
I'm gonna look to Decim and say, "Would you like to squeeze, Decim?"
Desm flashes a very large grin. Says, "Squeezing the most important thing you'll ever learn in your life.
Then could you show me by squeezing through this grate? And
Desmond will gladly demonstrate the merits of squeezing.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm still disguised as Decim, right?
How long does that last? Is it an hour?
Hour.
Yeah, you still are. It didn't take.
Cool. So
It's
I
about
still
halfway.
Decim. I am still. So I will also try to squeeze.
Okay, so 2 Decims go over, and like essentially you're sitting there. Actual Decim is like, puts his snout up against it and tries pushing, and then the top of his head and tries pushing, and it seems like Doran's doing this, but almost in mirroring, because you have to see what he's doing, so you're kind of like doing the opposite, but the same. Decim, you come to realize it's just too small for you to squeeze through. A rat could absolutely squeeze through it, but you're much larger than an actual rat.
Are there any rats?
Make a perception check.
Rat. Perception. There we go. Dude. Perception.
Awesome.
15.
So as you're like looking down, as your head's trying to squeeze through this, you notice like there's definitely some like droppings of rats, and what's perhaps more important to you is they have a slight green glow to them. Less of a glow than even Doran has from his flesh, but they definitely remind you of the glow that came from Skrigic.
I will filch the droppings
Okay.
into my bag.
Anything else?
I'm going to give pointers on squeezing to my progeny.
Okay.
I know that it's a futile exercise, but practice is part of perfecting the maneuver.
So Doran, he begins like explaining the best techniques for squeezing, and is like, really cheering you on to fit through, but you're not going to fit through either.
I mean, they didn't fit, so
Yeah.
it's par for the course. I'm not necessarily disappointed in my failure, because the person that I am,
Yeah.
as far as Doran is concerned right now, didn't also succeed. So
Hey, so Decim, do you have a scent, like perception on based on smell?
Let me see.
And while he's looking that up, Braca, you don't, correct? Like, okay.
Nope.
As your species, you don't have that benefit.
Doesn't seem like I do.
Okay, I just wanted to check something. While you're at the grate, go ahead and make a perception check.
All right.
Okay. You were completely enraptured with the glowing rat poop, which you have filched and put into a small container in your bag. What's everyone do?
Yes.
I grabbed some too.
Okay. It's pretty dried out, but it does have like the slightest green glow to it.
Desmond nods almost sagely.
Would the rest of us have noticed that it was glowing, or if not, would Decim have told us?
Desmond wouldn't mention it.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
And I don't think it... I mean, unless you walk up next to Decim, you wouldn't notice it. It's not...
Nope.
It's like, it doesn't give any glowing radiance or anything like that, so...
So I just figure, Decim is looking for ingredients for his next special potion because this, he could be doing all kinds of things with potions.
Yeah. All right. What do y'all do?
I'm trying to see if there's any way we can mark this to see where it exits
Yeah.
out the open, but I can't think of anything I have. I'm gonna call out.
Okay. What do you say?
Just say hey.
Okay. Odd or even?
Odd.
You call out and right away you don't hear anything, like any difference, but you continue to shout and try and get somebody's attention. And after a moment, the voices that are talking get quieter, and Braca, you can hear them say, like you understand them saying, do you hear that? Is that a voice coming from? No, wait. Where is that coming from? And then all of you notice like shadows that suddenly appear coming through the tunnel ahead, like somebody passes by the grate. Does anyone do anything?
Brock is going to start feeling around the walls a little bit to make sure that they all have structural integrity. Say
Yeah.
more than maybe one of them is like the floor of the curiosity cache.
Right. Go ahead and do an investigation. So you don't seem to find any like structural weaknesses. The panel that has the bars in it is the same as the other where the strange creature was, where it's actually like a plate of metal that's been set somehow into the stone. Like you don't even see carving around that, like it was like hollowed out and then they somehow slid it in there. It's just like fused there somehow. All right. What do you do?
As they pass by, I'm gonna be like, "Hey there, buddy."
So you're gonna shout again?
Yeah.
The shadows come back. Hello? You don't understand this, but Braca, you do. But you do hear somebody shout in response, Freed.
I'm going to shout in Lydian, Where are you?
After a moment, the voice changes and they begin speaking Lydian instead of Chilzari.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, what did you ask? I just mind blanked on what you said.
Where are you?
Oh, I'm just outside the souk. Where are you?
Where's the souk? Like, I assume I know what the souk is.
Yeah. So the souk is like the massive open air market.
Gotcha.
It is quite a ways from the shop, but with the amount of time that you've like been walking and everything, it makes sense.
Okay, and that's all I wanted to know. I'm
Okay.
bored now.
Okay.
So,
So the voices continue, and they're like, "Hello." Hello?
Thank you. Okay, bye.
Okay. And Keely be with you? And the shadows stay there for a while, and they go back to speaking Shalzari, and Braca, you can hear them being like, is somebody playing a trick on us? Did we just get punked? What's going on? Where's the camera?
And then I would like to start one of the meditations with a vocal component that I learned from the temple. Because I know my cue.
Make an intimidation check. And you have advantage on this, don't you?
No, I just have proficiency.
Oh, gotcha.
I wish I had advantage. No, I just have proficiency. And I don't think.
Oh,
The internet straight up frozen for him. They sound like me.
yeah. One more time, Braca. Your video froze.
Oh, yeah. So Braca does not have advantage. He just has proficiency.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you see me now?
Yeah.
I assume that Braca, even with his bad roll, was a little more, either more or less intimidating than I was with my video there. All of you at home can go on Twitter and vote for yourselves.
So right. So none of you none of the people outside run away, but there's still like all of a sudden the voices stop, and there's a moment of just like dead silence coming from outside, and then they just walk away. So you're not sure if they were scared, but they're definitely not hanging out to find out what the hell that was.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. So what's the plan?
We do
Back
have,
down, I can feel the tunnel.
yeah.
Back down to the silent tunnel?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because so far we've seen like the sewers, we've seen a grate somewhere, we've seen like a potential like eldritch horror like hanging out.
Potentially.
Potentially, we don't know what it is. So yeah, we'll check out the other sewer or the other like tunnel and see if we can make it a double
Okay.
of eldritch horrors.
So the silent tunnel meanders, to say the least, and you get to the point where it's really hard to tell where you're heading. Like even where you kind of realize, okay, this is the souk, and so if we head back this way, we're kind of heading back towards maybe a little south of the store. And then you get to the tunnel that you haven't gone down, so you start heading down that, and it just like meanders around and twists and turns, and you definitely like there's times where you have to like climb down because it's like it's not even built to be a stairway, but it's just like this natural outcropping that drops down further in, and so you're like climbing down into there, and you get completely turned around. You're really not sure, and you drop down, and you're standing on a stairwell that is very ornately carved, but is also enormous. Like each step of the stairwell is taller than Decim.
Oh.
So I'll turn to Braca and say, "This is what we're looking for, right?"
It definitely appears to be that way.
And you can see
You
that
want
the
someone else to
stairwell
make the lead
goes
now?
up into the stone, but then probably Braca probably realizes this more than others with his skills and his craftsmanship. But it seems like a long time ago this caved in, but has since the stone has worn down, so you can't even quite tell where what was above it, where like the actual worked stone was, and what it has like caved in on. It's all just kind of mushed together at this point. But going down, it seems to spiral into the darkness.
Yeah, so this definitely seems like the way to go to the very, very terrifying question mark.
What is in our basement?
What lives in the basement? I need to
Yeah, I guess.
check.
Scurry towards the edge of that first stair and take a look down.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a perception check there, Decim.
Perceiving.
Nice, 17. So it spirals down out of your line of sight, beyond your vision's capabilities, but you do notice carved into the stone, like as it spins around or curves around, you can see a very large glyph carved into the wall. What languages do you have there, Decim?
I've got Slytherin, Titan Speech, and Lydian.
Okay. You do not understand what the sigil says, but it is also enormous.
I'm inspecting it as well if I'm still disguised as them.
I think at this point, yeah, by this point your spell has worn off.
Okay.
And it's actually out of the range of your torch.
Okay. Fair enough.
But if you... Sorry, go ahead.
Does it have any arcane significance at all?
You could do an Arcana check to try and connect the dots. It does not. It does not seem to be like an arcane symbol, more of a language symbol, like a rune.
Yeah. Unless, is everybody standing over there inspecting this, or just...
So I think he's the only one who can see it with his dark vision.
Okay.
If you continue down, or when you continue down, the light will end up hitting it, and then everyone can do so. So if you want to do that, go for it.
Would 30 feet of dark vision be enough?
As you get further down, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I figure probably the same as the light.
Yeah, pretty much when the light hits it, you'll be able to also see it.
Desmond will make a beckoning gesture and begin making his way down.
Okay. As you all
So-
head... Oh, yeah, go for it.
I was going to say, when we walk by, is it abyssal? Because
It
I
is
have
not.
abyssal for some reason.
It is not abyssal.
I was about to feel very bad for a very short trip where we were headed if it was abyssal.
Freed, what languages do you speak?
Lydian, Eshik, and I think, and Kraken.
Okay. And
That's a
Braca?
good one.
Sutak, Orcish, Shelzari.
Okay. None of you recognize the symbol. It's completely foreign to you. What do you do?
Odd
Make a
scribbles.
Odd scribbles, yep.
Yeah, make a note of the symbol.
Okay. Like you want to try and draw it out?
Yeah,
Awesome.
just for,
Good idea.
reasons. And tuck that away and then scurry forward.
Make a perception check. Decim.
Perceiving.
Nice. Everyone behind him also make a perception check, but you're going to be at disadvantage.
Is perception wisdom or intelligence?
It is wisdom.
Okay.
Everyone's rolling crits on a disadvantage one.
Advantage.
It's so bad.
Not me, I had a 5.
Nice. Okay, so Braca, as you're following along, how far back from what's the marching order?
I would be second no matter what. I'm just following the leader always.
Okay, so we've got Decim, Doran.
How wide of a path do we have here?
It's huge. Like,
Oh,
Then I'm up there with Decim then.
okay.
then I guess somehow that puts me at the back, but we're probably all within
Fairly
like
close to one
10
another.
feet of each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, you can do that. Braca, you notice as you're walking along, you're not even sure like why you realize this, but then all of a sudden like your your mind just clicks on it, that there's an extra set of footprints more than those people that are just ahead of you.
And is this extra set of footprints little more, say, Eshik sized or
Oh, okay.
Baraka
Yeah, good
size?
question. They're closer to the size of footprints that Freed has, yes, and I mean, they're just very faint in the dust that's on the ground, almost like the footprints happened and then more dust filled the footprints, as opposed to like everyone who is like kind of like kicking up a little bit of dust as they go. So they're older footprints, and there seems to be a single set of them.
How much older?
You could do a survival check to try and figure that one out. It's really hard to tell based on the amount of dust that accumulates in the shop. Probably at least several weeks.
That's another 2. All right. So I mentioned, because we're close enough, that there are other tracks here. Someone closer to Freed's size, and they seem to have been left a while ago.
Yep.
I don't know more than that, just a while ago.
Correct.
I'm trying to remember if I ever woke up in a cave. I don't think so.
You could do a. Are you proficient in history?
No.
Just do an intelligence check to be like sifting through those nighttime dream memories that weren't really dreams. 10. I mean, you don't recall ever being in a cave, especially one like this.
Yeah.
But also, you don't recall a lot of your nighttime excursions.
So who knows? Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Continuing on.
Yep.
Yeah.
Carry forward.
Okay. So everyone heads down, and it takes a bit because a lot of this, it's almost like climbing stairs. I mean, not like walking downstairs, but like you have to get to the edge and kind of like hop down as opposed to just walking down the stairs, because they're just enormous in scope. But you do get to the bottom, and there is a single exit from this tube of stone that has the stairwell that goes up. Immediately, it's not even a thing you have to roll for. Except for Doran probably hasn't seen this. But the old gate, that is like the oldest part of Shelzar, and it's what Shelzar was built around. There's a section of like ruined wall with this gigantic gate set into it. Same construction style, like same carving and everything. And this massive hallway just extends beyond your vision.
This. Did we find this? Is this a thing? Did we just find this? Project's gonna be so happy. We can sell this now.
We can sell this. All right, get your tools out.
Because this was a long lost, I assume.
I mean, Brocky, did you tell them about the footprints?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I told him about the footprints.
Okay. So, obviously someone has been here before you.
But not someone with the capitalist mindset to sell tours.
Completely
Sure, that would
fair.
bring a lot.
I mean, yeah, someone's been here, but if I remember correctly, like we saw it in the vision, so it's not commonly seen.
Oh, are you talking about the catacomb gladiator arena
Possibly.
from the vision?
Think those are 2 different places.
It is. You can definitely tell the difference. The other one was much smaller, like more human sized or more, medium person sized, as opposed to this very large
But
scope.
the city was built around this thing, so it does have some importance.
Go ahead and actually, I'm not even going to make you do a roll on this one. The ruins that the city was built over, that the gladiator combats were done in, like those catacombs, should not be this deep. So this is under those somewhere.
I'm gonna turn to who's been here longer, Braca or yeah, I'm just gonna turn to Braca, not Dessa.
Brock has been here longer than Dessen.
And kind of ask, do you know anything about the city specifically? What was here before the city? Double specifically, what is like 2,000 feet below the city?
Would I have heard any stories of that?
You could do a history check. Do.
Nope.
So I will give you that.
That's one of my better rolls too.
Right? The dice have not been your friend today. So you're thinking about the ruins below the city, and you from the conversations that we had in season 1, you know that there was the Empire of Flame, which essentially was a sorcerer genie power that like kind of spread across a lot of Gelsbad, and you're pretty sure the areas where some of those gladiator combats took place way back in Shelzer's history, they were probably in those ruins, and this is below that. So you've never heard of anything that's below the Empire of Flame stuff.
Here's a second question for you.
Yeah.
Prachya and all of us work for, what's his name?
Belky.
And Belky is a racially speaking?
He's this weird species that looks a lot like Freed, but is fleshy.
Gotcha.
Most everyone is actually not completely sure what Belky is, but out of character, he's a gnome. But there aren't gnomes on Gelsbad, so he is
this weird kind of.
When Belky was like in the shop before he disappeared, a lot of people would stop by just to see him and then leave and not buy anything. But yeah, he was definitely kind of one of a kind of like Freed is now.
Oh, interesting.
But realizing that it might make sense that Belky was down here.
Yeah.
Because obviously he built his sanctum in these tunnels. He has feet about your size.
Yeah. Can I do some sort of arcana check?
Yeah.
I'm going to say. To look at this gate or whatever it is and see if I can figure out if there's any kind of like magic happening with other runes.
Sure.
Do I understand?
Yeah, go ahead and do an arcana check. Not really.
I am tired.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at it, you don't really note anything that would make it, in your mind, any kind of arcane symbols or works that had been done upon it. What does everybody do?
I look back at the Gentle Masters and see if scurrying forward is the plan.
Before that, we've seen that there's a gate.
Yep.
We've seen that there's a large room. Have we checked the rest of the large room for stuff that may be of
like the space that
in our
you're
endeavors?
Yeah, the space that you're in.
Uh-huh.
So it really just is kind of like the inside of a tower. If the tower was just hollowed out into the rock, with this gigantic stairwell that spirals down into it. At the bottom, it's just completely open. You don't see any symbols. There's no furniture. There's like no objects laying around. But you do see the gate going out of the one side, and there's a very large hallway. At least that's what it appears to be within the limits of your vision.
Right.
Okay, just want to make sure that there aren't like bags of gold lying on the ground or anything like that.
Right. There's these pots, and if you run over and you smash them, gold and objects fall out. It's the weirdest thing. Yeah, sometimes fruit will just fall out, and it's obviously still good.
Ooh. I would go for some fruit right now. I'm saying more me as a player, but
Do you want to continue on?
Yes.
Do we still see that extra footprint?
Yep.
Yeah, I say we continue on.
Okay. So as you head into this tunnel, as you get to the threshold of it, that set of footprints disappears. And you realize it's not so much that the footprints disappear as the dust stops at the threshold, and so nothing on the other side. There's like a like half of a footstep on the threshold, and then nothing after that. And the ground is obviously worked. It almost looks like very large tiles of stone. And you notice the stone is not what you've been seeing otherwise. It was brought in and installed as opposed to being carved out of the floor. Decim, are you going first?
Yeah.
So as you step across the threshold, the hallway begins to illuminate. You can't see the source. There isn't like a ball of light somewhere, but it begins to illuminate as you move on. So the further you go in, the more lights up.
That's awesome. Desm is gonna keep on turning on the lights, I guess.
Okay. Is everyone following Decim?
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
I'm right behind them, since
follow
they're in the
road
lead.
paladin.
So the hallway goes on for quite a ways, and then Decim, as you're moving along, you begin hearing the sounds of your movement just before it happens, and then it almost seems to echo again a few seconds later. So like as you go to step, there's the sound of a step, and then you step down, and then there's the sound of the step again.
Weird.
What do you do?
Well, it doesn't takes a pause for a second
Okay.
to try and remember if he had consumed anything recently.
Except for
That's
the
right,
hair
hair
gel. No.
Hair cream. Yeah. Just gonna do a general check in on myself to see if I'm hallucinating.
Okay.
Can I determine that I'm not hallucinating?
You could do a insight check on yourself.
All right. Insight.
You feel pretty confident of your senses. You don't feel out of it like you have been when you've squirted several tubes of Dr. Zagini's random stuff into your mouth. This is much more concrete. You feel pretty solid that this is real.
I'm gonna turn and look at the rest of them. Is the same audio warping happening with them?
So what are the three of you doing that are behind Decim as he all of a sudden stops and tilts his head thoughtfully for a second?
Desmond does this all the time. I won't keep walking.
Okay. Braca?
Would Braca notice the same thing?
Not yet.
Then no.
Okay.
Braca would keep walking because, again, Decim does this all the time.
Right. So Doran, not really having been around Decim as much, The other two continue on when Decim stops. What do you do?
Following Decim, but now that they're moving on, I'm doing that weird, like, I'm behind them, but also kind of near him.
Right.
Not sure where to go.
So
So-
everyone, as you step into essentially where Decim is, that same audio weirdness begins where you'll hear almost like a pre-echo of your step, and then your step, and then an echo of it afterwards.
Desmond will turn to look at the group and
Yeah.
say, "It is not the cream this time."
And right before he says it is not the cream, like his mouth begins moving just after the words are audible, and then they start like overlapping each other, and then they start overlapping each other again as the echo follows on.
I would like to tap dance.
Yep, I was going to do the exact same thing.
So all of a sudden everyone just like breaks into dance. There's a short musical scene.
Yes, but I'm in hooves.
Doran, you're standing there and just becomes this cacophony of hoof on stone. And I mean, I assume Fareed makes some noise, but he's also very tiny and has like leather shoes on. So he's not making as much noise, but it's just like this constant reverberation of sound.
Cool. So, seeing this, I'll play my lyre.
Yeah.
And I'll ad-lib what would be in Doran's awful tongue, basically like, this party's really weird. I think I'm going to die. like that's basically what I'm singing, but
Yeah.
I'm just trying to enjoy the moment.
And that same effect where it's almost like what's that called? A round where like people are singing the same things but off.
And technically,
Yeah.
is what it's called.
What's it?
Yeah, it's a canon.
Like, gotcha.
Where somebody will say something and then it'll echo, and
Yeah.
then like another group will say it. It's a canon,
Okay.
actually.
So that's what happens. What does everybody do? Are you just gonna like hang out for a while and like maybe like hood the lantern quickly and unhood it, and you can have like a little rave?
I figure, yeah, we'll keep walking, have a rave party as we're going, kind
Okay.
of figure out what's happening, because you can tap dance
So
as we
Yeah.
walk.
you note
I'm
that
gonna move.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna move slowly though, because I want to see like what the actual effects are. Like, do they get worse as we progress?
Okay, so as you continue on, it becomes pretty obvious that the ceiling is sloping up almost like a dome. So it begins raising up, but you can also see that it is arching away from you. And as you continue on, the noises get closer and closer together. So your step is like step, 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 step. And then as you all of a sudden realize that there is this massive hole in the ceiling of this dome, your sounds have caught up to you where it's only a single sound, but it's all very underwater sounding, almost like muted, or if you like plugged your ears, that kind of like awkward tinny noise. And in fact, your ears feel that pressure, like your eardrums are just a little uncomfortable.
A familiar pressure to me.
Not so much in the way that you have experienced it
Excellent.
recently. That is definitely where your mind goes at first, but it's definitely different.
Okay.
Is it just this big domed room? Are there any exits?
You do not see the entirety of the room because it is too large. But you do notice from the glimmer off of Freed's lantern, there is laid into the floor some kind of shiny metal in... It looks like a big circle, but you can't see the other side of it. And there are just uncountable number of runes and sigils worked into the metal that's laying in the floor.
Is it the same sort of mark making as the rune at the top of the stairs?
You don't see that rune, but you could reason out that it's the same, or connected somehow. Yeah.
And do any of these markings have any kind of arcane significance?
Go ahead and do an Arcana check. With your knowledge of them, possibly, but you don't know what any of them necessarily mean.
Look back at the crew.
What's everybody do? Guess I'm staring you down.
I'm doing it right back.
Free, I guess we'll explore the reaches of the room.
Okay. And Braca?
Anyone know if there's a way out?
That's what I'm trying to see.
Yeah, let's follow Freed to find a way out. Follow Freed to freedom.
Follow Freed.
So as you walk further in, that mutedness of the sound begins to get stronger, and by the time you're kind of in the center of the room, you actually can't hear anything. When you breathe or make a noise that you would hear, like if you talk or something like that, you can hear like inside your head that reverberation, so you can kind of hear that noise, but you can't hear like clapping, you can't hear what anyone else is doing. And above you, this dark tube disappears into darkness. But Decim, I need you to make me a intelligence check. And while you're doing that, everyone else notices that there are two other doorways that go off from this hemisphere room.
Right.
Just an intelligence check, right?
Yeah, yeah. So you look up and you can see, just that little bit further into it than everyone else. It's almost at the edge of your vision. And like when you're holding the lantern up, it's at the edge of that dim light, so it's really hard to make out. But as you're standing there, there is a certain sense of almost weightlessness in the center. You don't like float away and you can't like jump any higher, but you feel almost disconnected from your bodies. And as you stand in this orb of weirdness and gloom, we will call it for this week.
Oh.
Any comments, questions, concerns, complaints? What's another sound that I can make? Conquistadors, croissants.
Ooh, croissant.
Ooh, croissants. Hungry. I didn't fully eat lunch.
Oh no. Well, we will do our outros and you will go hopefully eat something. Let's start with introducing Tric, who's playing Doran. Welcome to the Curiosity Cache. Yay! Tell us all about yourself.
I'm Tric, or the Hair Tric. I'm a variety streamer on Twitch. You can find me twitch.tv/thehairatric because puns, and I love cosmic horror. So, but I just go by Tric. Same thing on Twitter. I've been a level designer for 15 years on and off. My first outsource work was around that time. So if you're interested in level design and talking about that, you can always stop by my stream and chat me up about it. I might not be talking about it then, but I always will. I have been a lot recently with the Metro games. I've worked with Relic Entertainment, THQ before their bankruptcy, Sega after they bought out Relic Entertainment, and I was part of a team of level designers for a total conversion mod called Edge of Chaos for Doom 3. So I've had a run-in with id as well because they don't own the rights to Hexen anymore, and we found out the hard way. So, but yeah, that's
rights.
Mhm.
Awesome. And Freed, go ahead and take the mic.
So hi, my name is Chaz. I am a PhD student who studies video games and storytelling and music and how they all mix to like make things more fun. And I'm playing Freed, the warlock. He's just a
Yay.
warlock, just a chill warlock.
Yeah, super chill.
Yeah.
Awesome. Braca.
So I'm Noah Grand. You can find me at Noah Grand on Twitter, and I play Braca. I also write a number of things for DM's Guild. I had two things come out in the last week. One, an adventure, Road to Reconciliation, which is Adventures League CCC that debuted close to a year ago. It's something that I wrote for a convention in Adelaide, down in Australia. And I also was one of the writers and editors for the Wayfinder's Atlas, a set of various locations, if you're trying to think of places where you could send your players to give them a lot of interesting, at least in the things that I wrote and edited, a lot of ghostly or otherwise eldritch beings to interact with.
Hooray!
Beings. And then send them on some very interesting quests.
Nice.
And the art is beautiful.
Art can completely make a game. It can also break it, but I haven't seen very many of those coming from your designs. My brain is turning off. I also need to eat soon. So Decim, go for it.
My name is John, and I am a distiller and a nerd. I play Desmond.
Yay! Short, sweet, to the point.
Go for
it.
Rex.
Distorosaurus Rex on the Instagrams.
And follow my adventures in Ireland.
Hooray!
Hooray!
I would totally stalk you in Ireland if I could. I mean, it's hard to stalk you because we would just hang out, but
Yep.
So I just have to watch from afar. But anyway, I'm Jeremy Hochhalter. I own and operate, or whatever, this here Twitch. You can find me on Twitter at WHPubs or on Facebook and here on Twitch at WH Publications. What have I got coming up? What can I talk about? I have some freelance stuff for Onyx Path going on that I can't announce yet. I can announce, now that they've been played at Gen Con, I wrote a adventure for the upcoming Stargate RPG. When you play episode 3 of this game, please be kind, because it's supposed to be weird. Go into the game expecting it to be weird, because it will be. What else do I have? Follow on Twitch or follow on Twitter and Facebook, and you'll see what else is coming out as I can announce it. And because Chaz keeps forgetting, I'm going to say it. Come over on Wednesdays here on Twitch to see Chaz's game, our Academia Chronicles of Porta Temporia, a Final Fantasy XIV inspired 5th edition actual play game. Woo!
That's been super fun so far.
Yeah. So looking forward to doing that. We also, so Tric and Chaz and myself play on Mondays on Travis Legg's channel, Plastic H Plays, with our new stream, Scarred Lands, A Family Affair. We have technically episode 2 coming up this coming Monday. We had a session 0 2 weeks ago, and then our first episode was this last Monday. So head over to Plastic H Plays on Twitch, follow along for that, and we will see everybody next Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, Thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.
Bye.